Alright. It's 120. Means it's 420 somewhere. If you got one, spark up. Alright. On to the next segment of George Carlin. When will Jesus bring the pork chops? Let's go.
When I see a symphony orchestra, 100 or so people playing some incredibly difficult piece of music in complete and perfect unison, as if they were a single organism, I remind myself that each one of them started the day in a different kitchen. 100 different musicians in 100 different kitchens scattered across the city. And sometimes I find myself wondering how many of them had eggs that morning, how many of them chose cereal. I try to guess whether the percentage of muffin eaters is greater among the strings or the brass section. I ponder whether or not the percussionists drink a lot of coffee, whereas perhaps the piccolo players lean more toward flavored teas. I don't know why these thoughts come to me, but they sure fill the time between scherzos. Catholic kids are stupid. They don't know how to handle a pedophile priest. Here's what you do. First of all, you don't get all scared and do whatever he tells you. Who wants to get sucked off by a 43-year-old clergyman with beard stubble? Not me. Instead, what you do is you kick him in the nuts. You kick him squarely in the nuts and you get the fuck out of there as fast as you can and you go tell somebody right away. You tell as many grown-up people as you can. One of them is bound to believe you. That's what you do. You don't wait 30 years. You kick the priest in the nuts and say, "Fuck you, Father, I don't do that shit. Try Jimmy Fogarty, I heard he blew the choir master." And you're out the door. And don't forget to take your rosary. On second thought, leave the rosary. A lot of good it did you in the first place.
Two things come to mind with that one. One, the South Park episode. I want to say it was in season 2 or season 3, episode 2, or not 2, 22 or 23. And everybody goes to church just to flip the scripture as into a way to roast the Catholic Church. It was hilarious. They had a lot of good jokes. But then the other part, the taking up for yourself. There's apparently a former NHL player who is accusing his coach, or his former coach for the Chicago Blackhawks, of sexual misconduct. My thing is, coach, if I'm not mistaken, is like, pretty short, pretty small. Player was like 6'3", 240, 250. You come out 5-6 years later. Why didn't your big ass just knock him out on the spot? But I guess we'll never know.
3 short stories. The Velvet Hat. She wore a velvet hat. She walked...
Bandit, leave him alone. Hey, come here. Asshole. Leave the kitty alone.
...on the steps slowly, as if each one were a significant achievement. Her arm, bent severely at the elbow, pinned her purse closely to her side. The surface of the last few steps was cracked and uneven, and so she extended her tiny arm to grip the railing. At that moment, a man ran up and jammed an entire box of peppermints into her mouth.
Sorry about that. My husky's coming and messing with me. He wants to play.
Jammed an entire box of peppermints into her mouth. Not Martha Stewart. Vinny had just squeezed off 3 really vicious, warm, partially liquid farts, and was now trying with all his might to suck down from the back of his nose a huge gob of hardened snot that felt as big as a human embryo. Ignoring the dog shit encrusted under his fingernails from several weeks earlier, he reached deep into his throat, pulled loose some partially digested food, swallowed it again, and continued to make hamburger patties for the kids. Garnish. The man in the tweed hat stood by a tree, rolling a half-dried snot between his thumb and forefinger. Moments later, the snot now completely dry, he strolled casually past a sidewalk cafe and gently flicked it into a young lady's lemonade.
That's fucked up.
Why do you always finish your sentences? Yeah. It's something that's been bothering you for a long time? Yeah. Well, it's a habit that started in grade school. When the teacher called on another kid, sometimes the kid would start to answer and then get stuck, so I would supply the rest of the answer. And this habit has stayed with you ever since that time. But there must be something you can do about it? The only thing I could do about it would be to find some person who might be willing to finish your sentences? Yeah, if I could just find someone to finish my sentences, it would put a little balance in your life? Right. But why does it have to be someone else? Why couldn't it be the same person? Why couldn't the same person whose sentences I finish be the same person who finishes your sentences? I don't know. Let's ask this man over here. What can I do for you fellows? The American Retail Association reminds you that next Sunday is a Person I Know Day. It's a lot like Mother's Day or Father's Day, but instead of honoring your parents, you take the time to honor some other person you know.
I've noticed that, especially with the advent of social media, seems like every day has become special. You know, you got National Pizza Day, National Donut Day, National Ice Cream Day, National Cookie Day, every day has a national day all of a sudden. Clever by the marketers who, started the idea. Got a bunch of fools thinking, oh, National Hot Dog Day, I gotta go buy a hot dog. Just goes to show how trained a lot of people are.
Can be anyone at all. Mailman, delivery boy, gas station attendant, drugstore clerk, even that interesting fellow who stands on the corner all day displaying his penis. Any person you know is eligible. In fact, every person you know is eligible. So why not honor them all? Go out today and buy gifts for all the people you know. It's the perfect way of showing your love and saying, "Hi, I'm sure glad I know you." And when you think about it, you'll probably be in store for some nice gifts yourself on a Person I Know Day. In fact, the more people you know, the more gifts you'll receive. So go for a long walk today and introduce yourself to every person you see. Just walk up and say, "Don't I know you? If not, I'd sure like to." Then give them your address and tell them to send you a gift. You'll make lots and lots of new friends. And you'll be helping the economy. I've never seen anyone cleaning a church. I've seen many things, but never a cleaning crew working in a church, vacuuming, mopping, dusting the statues, and scrubbing the altar. You know why? I figured it out. Churches don't need to be cleaned. God does it. It's one of those miracles. That's how they know it's a church in the first place. Here's how it works. After a church has been built, the owners wait 6 months and then look inside. If it's clean, they know it's a church. So they get ready for the grand opening. And from that day on, they never have to clean it. No matter what kind of crud, grime, or muck the sinners track in, the place remains spotless. But just between you and me, a little Windex on the stained glass wouldn't hurt once in a while. It would help bring out all those bright, pretty colors they use to show the torture and bleeding of the saints. Hi, I'm Our Lady of the TV. I'm here to say hello and to make sure everyone prays real hard for peace. Also, the last time I was here, I forgot my sunglasses. Has anyone seen my sunglasses? A stagehand hands her the glasses. Thank you. Hold my purse, please, would you? She hands him her purse and puts on the sunglasses. I know that many of you lead a pointless existence. You have dead-end jobs, bad marriages, and children who hate you because you've ruined their lives. I also know you look to symbols like me to provide solace and hope. Well, here's the deal. I have no solace to offer, and frankly, there is no hope. I'm just an illusion that means nothing. So work it out for yourselves. If you ask me, you're not trying hard enough. Thank you. I'll be back in a few years. And please, stop bothering my son with stupid requests like winning the lottery. To the stagehand, give me the purse. Letter to a friend. Dear Trevor, the reason I'm writing is because I've lost your address and have no way of getting in touch with you. For that reason, chances are you won't receive this, in which case you should not feel obligated to reply. If, however, this letter does reach you and you wish to answer, please enclose your current address so I'll know where to send this. By the way, you can ignore the return address on this envelope as I'm moving next week, and although I don't yet have my new address, I'll be sending it along as soon as I hear from you. Should you have any trouble locating me, please be assured I will contact you as soon as I have my new phone, so by all means give me a call and let me have your number. If it turns out that I'm unable to reach you, please don't hesitate to get in touch, as I always mention it to my friends whenever neither of us hears from the other. Should you encounter any trouble reaching me, please let me know and I will get back to you at once. Then again, if you are unable to reach me, perhaps it would be better not to get in touch because I will most likely be trying to get a hold of you. And of course, if I do reach you, please let me know immediately. Conversely, if I don't reach you, you will probably hear from me right away. Well, evening is rolling around, and as they say in Portugal, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you receive this before you mail your letter. It's so good to communicate this way. Sincerely, Spurla Vaughan. P.S.
Where does he come up? Like, where did he come up with this stuff, man? Like, he just randomly, somehow, just thought all this weird stuff up. And then just wrote it all down. Sorry. Husky wants to play. And anybody out there that owns a Husky knows if they want to play, you're a willing or an unwilling participant. Oh, bastard.
Should this letter be lost in transit, please disregard. True fact. I saw a guy on the street wearing a t-shirt that said Couples for Christ. But he was alone, and I wondered, what would Jesus think? What's the difference between a drop and a droplet? After all, if you divide a drop into smaller parts, all you get is smaller drops. Big or little, a drop is a drop. Same thing with a crumb. But the odd thing about a crumb is that if you cut a crumb in half, you don't get 2 half crumbs. You get 2 crumbs. To me, that sounds like magic. I gotta ask David Copperfield how they do that. When it comes to God's existence, I'm not an atheist and I'm not an agnostic. I'm an acrostic. The whole thing puzzles me. I saw a homeless guy sitting on the sidewalk yammering to himself and repeatedly punctuating his remarks with, "You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?" And I thought, for God's sake, the man is talking to himself. If he doesn't know what he's saying, who would? True fact. On June 8th, 1995, Glacier National Park was closed because of too much snow. Colin Powell spent his entire adult life as a soldier, trying to devise the most efficient ways of killing foreigners for his country. Then he became a diplomat, trying to devise the most efficient ways of getting foreigners to cooperate with his country. Tough sell. Whenever I hear...
So it's funny I actually hit this part. I didn't even know this part existed. But, yeah. Mr. Colin Powell is no longer with us. He has joined the dead Iraqis who died at the result of his lies. He, now, in order for them to get true justice, the rest of that administration needs to be charged with their war crimes. Let's keep going.
About parents who have 9 or 10 children. The only thing I wonder is how they survive the birthday parties. I recently learned there are 3 people still alive who can do the minuet. Unfortunately, only one of them is able to move without a wheelchair. I think they should have a hotline that never answers for people who don't follow advice in the first place. I finally figured out what email is for. It's for communicating with people you'd rather not talk to. You know what I like the most about the NCAA basketball tournament? 63 losers. The United States most closely resembles a huge, poorly thought out, sick joke. Health tip from the American Medical Association. Never pour corrosive chemicals on your testicles. A female teacher seduced a 14-year-old boy, and he turned her into the police. What was this kid thinking? Is he fucking crazy? Or gay? I would have kept that kind of thing real quiet. At least until I graduated. Cigarette companies market heavily to young people. They need young customers because their product kills the older ones. It's the only product that, if used as intended, kills the consumer. More people write poetry than read it. I wish the ecology people would save one species that would make a dramatic comeback and then wipe us out. True fact, there is actually an erotic wrestler. When I'm in someone's house and I see something I want that's small and easy to conceal, I steal it. It's my belief that property belongs to the person who wants it most. Whatever became of alpha-carotene? I wonder what kind of masturbation fantasies Stephen King has.
I don't.
I also wonder if anyone has ever masturbated while fantasizing about having sex with a live chicken. Usually I wonder about these things while I'm masturbating. Isaiah said, "They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks." Let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard of someone who made a fortune selling plowshares and pruning hooks? You're probably thinking to yourselves right now, I wonder what he thinks I'm thinking right now. Or you may be thinking, I wonder when he's going to say, you're probably thinking to yourselves right now, I wonder what he thinks I'm thinking right now. Or you could be thinking, I wonder when he's going to wonder when I... Well, maybe not. Hey guys, did you ever get your balls caught in the toaster when it was turned all the way up to dark brown and your wife was trying to rub butter on your balls and your pit bull was in the kitchen and he really loves butter? Oh, it's an awful feeling. When I'm writing...
Sorry about that. Husky's doing too much.
Awful feeling. When I'm writing, I always like to have the TV playing in the background. I usually try to find a program that's interesting enough to leave on, but stupid enough to ignore. I think sometimes the word overseas is pluralized unnecessarily. The way I look at it, New York to London is oversea. After all, there's only one sea in between them. This statement is untrue. Regarding astrology, an obstetrician or a maternity nurse who weighs between 100 and 200 pounds actually exerts a greater gravitational force on a baby at the time of its birth than do any of the distant planets that are said to influence a person's personality and destiny. Why aren't these bulky, proximate objects factored into the astrological charts that are so carefully laid out? There are caregivers and there are caretakers, and yet the two words are not opposites. Why is this? Whenever I hear that someone lives in a gated community, I think of places like Auschwitz. True fact. There is actually such an organization as the Paralyzed Veterans of America. And I wonder, who answers the phone? Until you're a certain age, you don't have anything to put behind you. That's what life seems to be. A process of doing things that eventually you just want to put behind you. There are now murderous turf wars going on in which people are being brutally killed over the right to sell a substance called ecstasy. You know something you don't see anymore? The sacking of a city. Rome and Constantinople were good examples. Next time we win a war, we ought to sack the capital of the country we defeat. U.S. troops sack Baghdad. Wouldn't that be good? I guess we do our sacking in subtler ways, through the business community. I think they ought to have really fast escalators that you have to jump on and off. And if you get hurt, too bad. When I notice a little dead fly on the windowsill, one that wasn't there the day before, I always wonder how he died. I wonder if he had a stroke, or maybe a little fly heart attack. Then I think that maybe he's just pretending to be dead so I won't swat him. So I swat him.
All right. I think that's a good spot to stop it. Sorry about the interruptions. Husky's full of energy. I think I might have to take him for a walk. But that was part, what are we up to, 22? Damn it, Bandit. Or are we at 23? Let's see real quick. Also, I do have a playlist with all the other parts from the George. Yeah, this is part 22. Yeah, it has all the other parts to this. It is a 7.5 hour audio book. Probably be able to finish it in the next 2 segments. So maybe get to that this week. I do also have a lot of requests I got to get to. If you have any requests that you have, go ahead, leave them in the comments. Other than that, y'all have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Stay blazing.